Welcome to 60 Minutes with a Woman, the podcast where we sit down with remarkable women. In each episode, we dive into their journey, the challenges, the triumph, and the lessons that shape them. Get ready for raw conversations, inspiring stories, and actionable insights to fuel your own success. Tune in because every woman's story deserves to be heard. Welcome to 60 Minutes with a Woman. Today, again, we have an incredible woman, Pamela Wilson. Pamela, I'm going to start by giving a little more information about who you are to the audience. You are the founder of Genius AI Growth Solution, and you help entrepreneurs grow their businesses without sacrificing the people and the priorities they love. Through your signature voice match system, you show that automation can protect people's time and keep their business moving even if they step away. Pamela, you also have a very personal story that comes with you creating this company. And the worst day of your life was the day you were released from your job. And along the way, you also discovered that some of the life hardest moments are blessings in disguise. Losing your job meant you didn't have a house or a career. However, that sacrifice became a gift of being fully present with your dad all the way to the end of his life. Through tears, laughter, and faith, you learned that time is our most valuable resource. And this is how you started Genius AI Growth Solutions. Pamela, I would like to ask you, prior to becoming, first of all, a business owner, and prior to that, a full-time caregiver for your father, what were you doing? What's your story?
Well, I grew up in Ohio, and I actually was the ugly duckling, to believe it or not. And when I went back to my 10-year high school reunion, I got the most changed because I had some disabilities. I had seizures. I had all of the things. I went through health challenges. I did all the things that I couldn't be a kid. But one thing I learned through those challenges, what I learned prior was never to give up. When somebody says, I can't do it, I'm going to show them I can. And so that was the personality that got through. And so what was I doing prior, like just right prior? Dating, owned a house, lunches and barbecues and, all the normal things, swimming, boating, vacationing. I used to work for the airlines and I used to be able to fly for free. And so I did all of that kind of stuff. But sometimes life kind of happens and it throws some roadblocks. And so that's what happened with me prior to caregiving. But I also believe that things happen and I either win or learn.
Yes.
And so whenever I took these moments, I took those opportunities as gifts because it's all about perspective. And it's all about attitude and how you go into it. So that's really just a little bit. I mean, I live here in Texas now. I live in Houston. And I came here, I don't know, in 95, I believe. So I've been here long enough to call it home. And so, but yeah, I was just living the life that you would normally think of, just your standard American,
And your life took a turn when your parents unfortunately couldn't take care of themselves anymore. And how did that go for you? Because it was a process, and like you mentioned, you ended up losing your job, not having a career anymore, and then your house. You sold your house, right, to be able to take care of them. Do you want to tell us more about that?
Well, I sold my house whenever I came in while I was trying to juggle all the balls. Whenever you're trying to juggle everything, I wasn't a full-time caregiver at the time, but while I was trying to do it all, I went into work one day and I was released. And I'm like, what I thought was secure, what I thought was safe, I no longer had. And
That's
so
terrible.
it wasn't so much about, I don't think, caring for them at the time, because you don't even know what you don't know when you're doing it. But I was, what I knew for certain was whenever I had to make the choices that I made, I knew that I did not want to put my dad, my parents in general, but because my dad had Alzheimer's, it's a disease that you can't always get to make a choice to keep them at home or not. And I was able to keep him at home by giving him the care and being his primary caregiver. My sister and I did it together. However, it was, late nights, early mornings,
Yes.
but along the way, it was really fun. My dad was a fun man. My dad laughed, and we went to the gym, and we went outdoor, and we played outside, and went on the swings, and just as much as you can do, because part of Alzheimer's is redirection. And so I had to figure that out as well. Caregiving doesn't come with a roadmap. It doesn't come with an instruction guide. It just is thrust upon you, and you kind of have to figure it out. And so one thing that made the biggest difference was being in community. I had to find people to be around that were going through the same things, that were dealing with the same struggle that I was dealing with, and that's really what made a big difference whenever I was caregiving for them.
This is also one of the this is part of the conversation we had last time, is the isolation, right? The lack of resources, and having community is crucial during those difficult times. How did you feel that the lack of resources that I just mentioned affected the whole experience?
I say that if I could go back, if I could rewind the clock, but of course we can't with time. But if I could, there's one question that I said I wish I could answer, and that is, are you a veteran? And that's because there are plenty of resources for the veteran communities. And people may not know that, but there are, because we were asked over and over and over again, are you a veteran? And I'm like, no, what does that mean? Like, how does that make a difference? But when you do not have the finances, then you have to figure out how you're going to caregive. And the sandwich effect is happening everywhere, where people are trying to raise their children and they're trying to care for their parents at the same time while keeping themselves with sanity.
It's oh, that's very well put together. I mean, that's very well explained, because this is definitely, there is a lot of self erasure, time dedication, and obviously it's all worth it, because there is nothing more valuable than being around your family and the people you love. However, the lack of resources we were just talking about is a major issue for everybody across the country. Very often, people don't feel like they don't want to leave their parents in a retirement home, or an institution such as in as the one I just mentioned. But at the same time, I know, because we spoke about it, how beautiful it also was. And this is what your business is also about, right? Because this is
Yes.
what gave the first breath to your business. It's wanting to spend more time with the people you love. Do you want to tell us how you transitioned, and how even you got started in thinking about starting your business? Did you always have this business mindset?
I didn't think I did. Somebody asked me that recently. If have you always been an entrepreneur? And I'm like, I was self-employed most of my life. I worked in a hospital. I did ultrasounds. I was an imaging systems administrator within a radiology and cardiology group. I did all of that kind of which I was self-employed, because I didn't want get the 2-week vacation once a year, all of that kind of thing.
Yes.
So I wouldn't say yes, But when I thought about it, the answer is yes. I think I have been an entrepreneur most of my life because I wanted to, my experience of being a child where somebody says I can't do something, I want to show them that I can, and I live outside the box. I live outside the thinking. I live a very holistic life. And so I want to think, how can I do it differently?
Yes.
The one thing that really probably gave me the biggest roadmap to taking action is a book called 1 Month to Live Without Regret. It's by Carrie Shook. It's very, very good. And it's the question that I ask myself and others might ask themselves is, why do we wait? Why do we wait to live until we get the diagnosis? Why do we wait to live until somebody else gets a diagnosis? Why don't we say, I love you now? Why don't we take action? Why is there so many times that we're so afraid that we don't live? It's almost like you're so afraid to die that you don't live. Really, what's the biggest regret in life? It isn't all the stuff. It's you didn't take the experiences.
So that's I'm gonna have to have a look at this book because I absolutely love that approach. I think that we are, I think society also, without wanting to blame anybody else but us, obviously we are responsible for our own choices. However, I think that this go, having to be productive, and this also maybe frame that everybody's trying to keep us right in that box saying, oh, you got to go to college and then you need a job and then you need a family and then you need so who actually stops to smell the roses? Not that many people. We are not even taught to live life that way. I wanted also to ask you a question. So you mentioned that you built this business out of heartbreak, but also out of hope. Can you share what this transformation looked like for you?
Sometimes when you're broken in such a way that things are all over the place and all the balls dropping and all the thing, you kind of get into despair. And I don't want to be the victim. I don't want to be any of that. But I felt like I had more rough days than not so rough days.
Yes.
And at the same time, sometimes the best thing to do when you're going through that moment is to pause. Sometimes the best thing to do is just stop where you're at and evaluate to see what is it. And I'm faith-based, and I ask, like, God, what are you trying to tell me? What message are you trying to give? So I would pray. Sometimes I would drop to my knees and I would sing, Thy will be done. And that's what I would pray for. And so for that's where the brokenness came in. But then I started getting excited. That don't we all have a choice? Don't we all have a choice of how the perspective comes in? Don't we all get to say? And so that's whenever I started to have hope in helping others, hope in speaking about the message after I lost my parents. It will be 3 years, October 24th, that I lost my dad. And, for me, I don't believe I went through that journey to have it end with me. So I know that I live life intentionally. I also know that I live on purpose. And so I do not let time get away. I want to make sure that I am very intentional around making moments versus having things.
And when you decided to start your business, what did that moment look like for you? When did you realize that time allocation was one of the main thing you wanted to work on and improve in your life and in people's lives as well?
I know for me, I say it, I want to work any place, anywhere, anytime. I want to be able to have the time to be able to live the life that I want to live. And so, I know I started really kind of exploring what options. I've tried network marketing. I've tried working for somebody. I tried the Ubers of the world. I've done cleaning houses for for Airbnb, all the side jobs that you have to do. But I was really trying to come up with something. And I started getting introduced to the idea behind automation. And I really liked automation, AI, and more so, I liked one of the things that I noticed is that it can sound very robotic. And so that's where I understand more and where the voice match came in to capture somebody's voice and not have it come across as a robot. So that's whenever I started getting excited. That's where it kind of birthed from.
So you decided, based on the fact that you did everything you could to support your parents, and after the passing of your father, you decided to dive completely and entirely into starting this company of yours. You integrated AI, and you added another layer to that by amplifying the quality of AI with voice match.
Yes, with voice match, with automation, with all of it. But let me answer one thing that I didn't answer yet, is why did I do it? I now say I got to care for my father because it allowed me for moments that I wouldn't have had. Would I have rather been in a position that I would have been able to hire the support that I needed, to be able to have the choice, to be able to make decisions versus decisions being made for me? That's really where it got birthed. When I don't think about it. Things, sometimes you forget all what, and it's like, why did you do that? Well, I don't really know why I did. Well, really, it comes from when I'm single, I don't have children. And so there might be a day that I might find myself in a nursing home. Do I want to have what the state gives me? Not really. I want to be able to have the choice to live with a purpose and to be able to make the choices versus them being made for me.
So, going through being a caregiver for your father, you also started questioning what could eventually happen to you and what do you want to happen to you during, once you get older. You wanted to be able to have the financial freedom to choose.
100%, because there's one very startling question that I ask. Is it going to happen to me, or am I going to be next? And if I'm going to be next, I don't know if you know what the statistics of Alzheimer's are, but it's scary. And if it's anything like what the Alzheimer's Association is expecting, by the year of 2050, they are expecting, after you turn the age of 65, they are expecting 1 out of 2 females. So between you and I, we have a 50-50 coin toss, whether or not you're going to get Alzheimer's or I'm going to get Alzheimer's. And it is 1 out of every 3 male. Yeah. That is what the Alzheimer's community. So do I want to prepare for something that I don't know? I already have a head injury. I have somebody who has a history of Alzheimer's. Is it likely that I could get the disease? Very likely. That's why I live and make the decisions. I also know you're not your genes. So I know you have control over it. I know you can move your body. I'm very active. I love getting out by the water. I love hiking. I love staying active. But I also know when I think about not being active, I grab those tennis shoes and I get outside because I don't want to be the person that gets on the 19 pills a day to just survive.
This has increased, especially in women. I'm not sure exactly what is the root cause of all of that, But right now we have to be on the lookout for breast cancer and Alzheimer. So indeed, I think we need to start thinking about family history and prevention and maintaining, like you said, physical exercise, mental exercise, and trying to find out as much as we can how to reduce the risks of getting Alzheimer's altogether. So, it's amazing that you shared all of that with us today, because you didn't do that last time. And we had a prior conversation. And I feel that this is a very special moment. And I want to thank you for opening up so much. I did not realize that while taking care of your father, you also had the perspective of saying, what if it happens to me?
Yes.
That's a very honest and vulnerable spot. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Something else that I don't know that's talked about much that I'll share is I gave a donation for my dad for Father's Day one year. And when I gave a donation, I really didn't think about it. It was a gift to my dad for Father's Day, and I knew he didn't need things, so I gave it as a donation, and I got connected. And what they said was, when I would go to their meetings, because I would start getting involved in understanding the disease. And what they said is, what's good for the heart is good for the brain. And what's bad for the heart is bad for the brain. Or if you go to lay on the couch and not move your body, there is an impact. And so keep that in mind, because it's a really simple, catchy phrase that might move you the next time that you think, I don't want to do that. Or maybe I take that chocolate cake, or whatever it is for you. For me, it stays in my mind. I can't even tell you how many years ago I was told that. And I know that there's truth to it, because it's blood vessels. It's the things. And so if you make your brain work hard, it's not going to be happy.
Well, thank you for sharing that, because I had actually never thought about the correlation between heart and brain in that way, especially not when it comes to Alzheimer or even other possible mental illnesses. So really cool to know. I'm definitely going to think about those fries now.
Yeah, right.
Prior to it's once again, it just shows that we need more awareness around the subject. We can't just come with, how come do I know that there is an increased risk for women, but I don't know how to prevent it? They always come with data. They always come with the big alarming warnings, and they never come with what we should do about it before people start to actually care and then, have deeper conversation and more serious conversation around it. So that's pretty awesome. And tell us more than that, now that we know your why and the deep, powerful story behind your company and your business. Tell us more about, who does your business speaks to, first of all, so the audience can identify themselves as, oh, I might need that.
Well, I help a lot of coaches. And so I definitely help the coach community, because I also am a holistic functional health coach. And so I think that's probably how I have that connection. But it's your mompreneurs, your solopreneurs, anyone that wants to get seen and grow their engagement online. If you've been praying for something, like, I post, and I don't get any action. I get that one heart and no traction. I spend all this time with no results.
All right, this is everybody.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
That's wonderful.
It's people that are growing online, because there's, there's tools that you can put into place that can make life a little easier. And I say, let's work smarter than not harder. And so that's really what it comes down to. However, there's one missing piece, and that was, for me, was making it sound natural. And so that's really where I started. I'm like, I need to understand this prompting business. I need to understand customized GPTs versus ones that are just out there. And so that's whenever I started getting into, if AI is trainable, and my history is in the radiology field. I used to be an imaging systems administrator in a hospital. And so what I knew is PowerScribe, and PowerScribe is the dictation software for the radiologist. And what they do is they train it. So it wasn't something that I was unfamiliar with. If you train something, it gets better and better. And that's the same thing that happens with AI and automation. And so when you do it and it gets better and better, it allows you to give consistency, and it allows you to get to work without you always having to be there 24/7.
Oh, wow. You know, what you just said is something that I've heard. Obviously, they say the more you feed AI, AI now, grows in knowledge and then can, like you said, answer you better and answer your needs better. However, I did not realize that you could base a software program on AI so everybody can get their own personal needs understood and improved by the automation. When you say it helps with, for example, posting and not getting enough likes, and everybody who's struggling, basically trying to get their business out there with social media, how does that benefit or improve the social media?
Well, you're going to get your algorithm. You're not going to have to fight it. You can just say you run ads. You can continue to run ads. However, you can enhance your ads because now you're actually going to be shown, your ads are going to be shown more frequently by being able to have more engagement, being able to have an increased views. I get messages quite frequently on my online, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and it will say, you've been doing this consistently, so we are going to expand your reach. We're going to continue to publish more so more people see. And so really it's about getting seen and getting heard, except what is most important is not losing who you are along the way.
That's very true. It's very difficult for people to stay authentic and still reach the crowd they're trying to reach, because you drawn basically in this ocean of content creators, and if you don't stand out, and sometimes standing out means not being 100% who you are, because you want to be able to show up on the front page. And it's most definitely everything you're saying. Like I can totally relate, even me. Like
Yes.
it's a real struggle. It's hard. So how do you connect? So what happens? Do you have an avatar, and then the avatar produces the content for you, or how does it work?
So you create your personality, and your personality then will go in, and every piece of content that you have, you're going to run that tool that will go through, and you can ask it to review, evaluate anything that you want it to do. You can have it go through and make sure that it's speaking in your brand. Is it speaking who you are? It gets to know who you are just by the training it. It allows you to get specific. You can say, hey, I want you to review this. Am I specific enough? Can I go in, and is there anything that you can offer suggestions? Here I am. This is what my brand is. You're going to tell them what your brand pillars are. You're going to answer these by answering a series of questions of how you would like it. Do you like it outside? Do you like to be in front of a room? Different questions like that you will basically answer. And then once you answer it, you're going to have that, and you can use it over and over and over again. Now you want to amplify it, then that's where automation comes in. Automation can come in where you can take it to another whole level, because that's when you can put the system to work through automations. I'm partnered up with businesses that run this, and you can use automation tools to run while I'm out. Sunday I was out on the boat. Yeah, I was out enjoying the boat while I was letting the system do the work for me.
That is wonderful. Plus, you told me that you doubled your followers in what, 4 months?
I don't even think it's 4 months. Yeah.
Not even
May.
4 months. Yeah, you said, yeah, May. Well,
Yeah.
there you go. This is incredible.
Yes. Yes. It's powerful. And it's something that, and it's not a set it and forget it, because you do have to do a few things. And that's where I'm building some community, because I was always told that your community is going to tell you what they need. And what
Yes.
I was told is, I need more of you. I need more of you to tell me how I can best utilize these tools that I have now. What do I do now? And so I am actively creating a wait list to work with people to be able to have things like on a membership where somebody will go in and be able to get social media content, how to take the voice match personality to use the GPTs, how to pull this stuff together, how SEO is changing after AI has been introduced, because we're not always going to Google. All those things are making changes that are taking place while we're trying to get seen.
So AI is improving that too. The SEO part.
Well, the SEO is actually changing, because where we might go in and search for google.com is not happening the same way. So you need to use targeted words, but people used to stuff their websites with, the targeted words. It doesn't exactly work quite like that anymore. And so
Okay.
a lot of things are taking place in the building a business online, and it's really staying connected and bringing a community together, because powerful minds are unstoppable.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And like you said, like right now we need to, it's not about flooding, obviously, the internet with your content, but it's about being so omnipresent that you don't miss any potential person who want to be part of your community or might want to know who you are, right? While scrolling, sometimes when you're not very active, these very people who are there, like you mentioned, on a Sunday while you're on a boat, are not getting to know you, and then sometimes you literally miss your opportunity. So I understand the limitation of a human, what a human can do regarding the vast world of the internet. So I can absolutely picture how your program and software is beneficial to people who want to grow their business. You said that Instagram, you were on Instagram, and then did you mention also Facebook?
Facebook and LinkedIn.
Yeah, and LinkedIn as well. Okay, and obviously the software can adjust to each platform
There's
differently,
software for
right?
each one of the platforms. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And then your
Perfect.
GPT voice match is available, where you can use it through automation. You can use it without automation. So these are only where you want to amplify what can be done. You can absolutely do that as well.
Do you want to tell us about an example of somebody you worked with that saw growth basically in their business while using your software?
Yes, absolutely. So it's I was working with somebody using automation, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, these people are in my messenger right now, and this is like the first day, and I'm building community." So
Wow.
she's actively growing. She, like I said, there's a little learning to it, slight, but it's something that I worked with her, and I told her, I said, it's not like I'm going to throw you out on an island and say you're on your own, go fend for yourself. So she also sees that the support is there. And so I have appointments already for people that have gone into using the tools to bring people in as well. Like, hey, who can you recommend? I know this person and this person. And so I have appointments, I have full schedules, and same thing for them. They're starting to book appointments, and everyone's going to be a little bit different because it's going to be catered to your business. It
Yes.
can be for real estate agents. It could be for insurance agents. It can be for a beautician. Whoever your field is, that's where you're going to speak the messaging in. And the voice match goes through to ask the questions. That way it knows how to set up the within the software to be able to speak into the listening, so you can attract who your market is.
what sets you apart? I mean, I've heard many things that could set you apart with what you said right now, but what would you say so people can keep that in mind about what sets you apart from your competition, basically? Because there are a lot of software out there, and they basically do a lot of that, but I'm not sure to what extent, because I'm very newbie to this kind of, I'm not even using, besides ChatGPT, I'm lost. So,
Yeah, yeah, no worries.
So-
What sets me apart? I think that there's one word, and it's grit. I don't give up. I don't get knocked down, and I like to raise you with me. I don't like to be climbing without you coming with me, because obviously if you're going to help somebody and they don't get results, they're not coming back. They're not going to share with others. And so I see people that sell programs. I see people that sell coaching. I see them. I've been in some coaching that have done this, where all they do is bring you in, and that's where it ends, is you don't get the support that you need. And so for me, that has been very important, because I think that what somebody says about you makes a difference, and they're going to either get results or they're not going to get results. And as long as I say, like, let's do it together, we're going to work. It's not perfect. We're going to work through the bugs, and we're going to work it through together. But as long as I give you what you need, I think that's what sets me apart, is being there for somebody and the support that they get.
I was going to say, from what I heard, from what your description about your business, it's really about support and the fact that if now it's customizable. So if it's customizable, you're basically helping them adjust your program to their needs. And I feel that this kind of support is not really what's out there. I'm just gonna take examples of even the short clips that we make online with AI, that shortens a long video and gets you the bullet points and things like that. It's very general. There is really, I have to go back and pick the actual moments that make sense, because I know that AI is not 100% able to do, their program is not 100% able to dive deeper into the message I want to share with the audience. So there is extra work for me on that end. Although it's obviously faster, is not as purposeful when it comes from those softwares.
Yes.
So I need to add this human touch to it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think one of the things that I learned along the way through trial and error and pivot and testing and A and B and, all the things that we do to try to get seen, is don't go too vague. Get specific. Look at desired outcomes, not just pain points. People have done the fear method for a long time. Really what people want is results. They want desired outcomes. They want to be with their family. They want the Sunday dinners or, swim at the pool with their child. And so when I changed it from, you get more increased engagement to, I was able to book 5 people on my calendar, it really started shifting for what people wanted. And so that has also made a big difference, is don't go too vague. And so that's what you're talking about by the programs. I have different programs that I've tried as well, and I try them and then I cancel them.
Exactly, because this is what's out there, and the truth is that it's affordable. So you really want to go with something that saves you time. Well, delegating is not easy, right? So, even if you want to hire a VA or a human being, costly is going to be more costly. But not only that, sometimes you want to be able to just have this, once again, program that automates everything for you. But what I understood from what you just said is that even the purpose of what people want sometimes is vague. I feel that this is what you just said. And if you mentioned that, it's probably because you help them figure things out as well.
Yes, because that's what I'm saying about the community, is people don't realize these are the things that you're going to get, where you are going to understand a lot of the missing pieces of why people scroll right past you. You know, what are the things that are going to get people to stop the scroll?
And how does your program pinpoints that?
Well, this is a wait list, so it is a birth in process.
Okay.
I am working with custom GPTs that will be able, because you don't want a GPT to go too vague. You don't want it to do everything. So you can have an advisory board. You can have a social media manager. You can have a sales closer. You can have a lead generator. You can have just for hooks. So each month I will be putting in the different GPTs that go along with it, as well as how can you automate your business. And then, like I said, also speaking on the SEO. So it's really about giving you access to kind of what I've already been through to learn, to be able, like what would help you get out there to be consistent and get seen online.
Yes, yes, yes.
And then the automation tools are a bonus, recommended for sure, but it's where you can put a little fire to what you're wanting to do. Do you want to do this in 3 months, or do you want to do it in 3 years, or do you know what I mean, a year, or do you know what I mean, things like that. So how quickly do you want to do it is another. And then also with that, I will do things like ask questions. Probably, like I said, it's a growth in process, but I got the ideas from people that I'm helping. And what I see is that really what they want is more guidance of how can you help me get from here to here? Because even though you give me tools, now what can I do with it? How do I grow my business? Because I still have no consistency that's happening online. I'm just starting out. I'm starting at the starting line, and I want to be up here, because what happens when you're using tools like automation, they're going to go to your profile. They're going to see who you're about. They want to know that you are consistent, that you are, you have authority, you have value that could, we hear the word value, but you have something that will help them, because they're really asking, what about me? How can you help me?
I want to pinpoint the fact that you mentioned how you help people use the tools. What I just said prior is exactly that. I'm going to have those AI tools that are going to create short clips for me. Now, how do I leverage now that short clip and be able to get it in front of people? I'm left alone to do that, right? I have to figure it all out by myself. So it's useful, and at the same time, it's not. But what I like is that what you mentioned about also figuring out your brand, because very often we go with a vision and a mission, and a lot of authenticity, and it can look messy online just because we're not one specific thing. We're so many things put together that motivated us to come out there with a business. However, for somebody who's scrolling through, and in the context of scrolling through that much content, you do not stand out. So creating this community and asking people what do they want to see, and providing that for them is definitely acting for the success of your brand.
Yes.
So like I'm promoting the thing here, but I can actually no, but I know it. Like I know I go through this every day. Like this is a real thing, and it has become literally. I'm gonna tell you just a story that has nothing to do with this.
Yes.
But I went to a content creator meetup. And I thought they were going to be just content creators there. But when I arrived, there was a surgeon, a photographer, a guy in finance, like many things. Obviously, you had those vlog travelers, those things like that. But you had people who spent years at school and are now there trying to figure out how to stand out in a world where basically social media are taking over. If you're on social media, you're basically it's just acting as a referral for you, especially when people validate you, comment. want to see more of your content and vice versa. And I thought, who would have known that this should have been part of the curriculum altogether?
Yes.
And for those who are already out of school, what this is the only option that's left for you is figuring things out by educating yourself and finding the right support.
And watching that you don't go for the, like I said, watch who you surround yourself with, because you're right. Everyone is trying to they're all using it for networking, and so many different people, because I've seen lawyers doing social media, doctors.
Absolutely.
Because they're obviously cooked and fried and all of that. They're ready to live their life because there's only so much. So yeah, that's really what I'm seeing as well. And I also know that I've also tried all the in-person networking, which I love the in-person networking. I do want to host events. I want to be able to do in-person. So I want to have that as an add-on or something separate, however, here in Houston. However, what I notice is you might go to these rooms that have 10 people show up, 10 people of the same people every week. How do you get connected to other people that are outside of those 10 people? So I spend all this time networking, but where are the results?
That's actually very true. When you go to those, I love it because I'm still very old school when it comes to connecting with people. However, it's time consuming. It doesn't help you reach your goal, and it doesn't even help you reach the right crowd, because very often when you go to those networking events, you all have the same problems.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yes.
So it's great that you can vent about what's happening in your life and the struggles. But if the person next to you has the same problem, then there is nobody bringing solutions into the mix. So, what I love about your program also is that not being able to stand out or even understand social media might be a setback. So if now people understand that they can have support there, that might even motivate them to get more involved with social media.
Right, because the first step is the hardest step. So sometimes they're on the fence, they don't know what to do, where to go, where to turn. And so that's why I said that automation might not be the best step for them. But what could be is understanding, how to take that journey. And it starts with the first step.
Pamela, you have a beautiful business, and now we really dove into all the details. Can you tell us more about what is the takeaway of the story? What do you want people to take away from this conversation we had today?
So my biggest takeaway is at the end of your life that you've lived life on purpose. Because what I have learned is that time is our most valuable asset. I've mentioned this before.
Yes.
But we don't get a refund. So right now I have somebody personal in my life that a family member, he was diagnosed with a end stage of cancer. And it's really causing upset within the family. And what it really comes down to is, why do we wait? What are we waiting on to take our life in control? And so by giving these tools and giving this education can give somebody back their time, being able to give them the financial freedom to live life with the purpose that they're made from. And so I am committed to helping other people take their life back. Trust that there is a way. Give them the courage. Give them the motivation that they're made for more and that you don't have to settle. Yes. Because it's just, I keep saying it, there's no rewind. We cannot take back the clock. It's not like 50 First Dates where they get to relive it all over again. Today is the one moment. So are we taking our life and are we living it on purpose? Or are we sitting down and watching 3 hours of TV? 6 hours of TV? How much binge watching are you watching? A friend of mine used to say to me, why do you watch soap operas? And I turned off the TV one day. I haven't watched soap operas in probably 10 years because I said I was going to go live my life, because what I saw was a very common theme. I saw all the breakups, all the upsets, all the extras that came along with it. And I said, I'm going to go live my life. That's really whenever I started getting active in my life, because I said, I want to live it versus watch somebody live their life. I don't want to watch reality TV. I want the reality to be my TV.
And the reality is we probably spend 80% of our time working. So we're not left with a lot of time to ourselves. And this is assuming that we need to recuperate as well. So what's really left of living life? Not much, really. It's a tragedy. And I'm beyond happy that you decided to create a program and just surf on the wave of AI to make it serve a purpose.
Because some people are afraid of it. Some people are afraid of it. They think it's going to be the ending of the world. And I read something recently, and it said, well, so did we think Y2K was, and some of the extras, like all the fear behind it. But we can do good in all things, and we can do evil in all things. We get to choose.
And it's about also, I think that the fear comes from the fact that we are afraid that AI will take away jobs. If the truth is that if there is education and if there is accessibility and affordability and everything that allows a middle class person who wants to start their journey to benefit from AI, then it's not a problem anymore. It's only a problem if we hear about layoffs and then AI taking over the world and people being left behind, which is not the case here. So I think that the approach is also about empowering people. And here, obviously, empowering women with 60 Minutes was a woman. So if this means that you can grow your business and grow financially, why not? Even just try it, see if it makes sense.
And just a little secret there, you can actually make a little money by doing it, by having just, affiliate opportunities along the way too. So you can add just a little bit share it with a few people and it can pay for itself.
That's wonderful. See? Now we are coming with solutions, problem solving. There you go. This is all we need. We need education here, especially once again for a woman who might not, they're stay-at-home moms sometimes and they have a business. They're not out there and they have children, or like you mentioned, they have their parents. So resources are not available to them. So hopefully you guys will listen to this podcast and see the opportunity and take the shots if you feel that this is something you're looking for. And I want to ask you the ways we can reach out to you. So on social media, and she has a very curated Instagram, by the way, if you want to. I was like, I'm going to actually try to get inspiration from you because it's very clean. I love it. And you can see how it works also by going on her, following you on your social media. So tell us more how to reach out to you.
Yes. My website is geniusaigrowthsolutions.com.
And your Instagram?
It's on here. It's Pamela J. Wilson. And then I'm Pamela J. Wilson on Facebook as well. And I'll post it in the comments on the podcast as well.
Yes, I will add it in the description down below so everybody can reach out to you. And thank you so much, Pamela, for being here today. It was awesome having you. Thank you for the knowledge. It was very nerdy talk. I'm not used to that. Honestly, I was like, am I going to be able to handle this conversation? But I feel that you were able to phrase it in a way that everybody was able to understand it. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. One last thing is when you go to the website, go grab your customized GPT. So there's some gifts for your audience as well, if they would like it. So one is an omnipresence action map, just in case they want to look at growing in multiple platforms. And the other one is a prospect GPT. And this is to have like a sales kick GPT that can help them along the way.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. Well, there you go. You have no more excuses, guys. There you go, ladies.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Pamela. Thank you for today.
Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure.
All right, likewise.
And that brings us to the end of today's episode. Until next time, stay bold, stay brilliant, and keep building your own success story. If you loved what you heard, be sure to subscribe, leave a comment, and share this episode with someone who needs to hear it.